Mrs. Brickman. Okay, guys, we learned about Chanuka. One of the most famous, there's three famous questions about Chanuka. I'm going to ask the number 2 and 3 most famous questions, I think, about Chanuka. Number 1 famous Chanuka, we all know that. Why is the mitzvah 8 nights? Which, again, you know what? I guess we could ask that question. Why is it that we celebrate 8 nights of Chanuka? Famous question, the Beis Yosef's question. We all heard it 1,000 times. The miracle was only 7 days. Right? So everybody knows that question. But I want to get into a different question, which is, what are we celebrating here? You see, look at the Gemara. The Gemara says, "My Chanuka." What's the story of Chanuka? What is Chanuka all about? And it tells you the story about what? The oil. The oil, how we had oil enough for an oil for 1 night and it lasted 8 nights. Okay, that's a miracle. We understand. Celebrate it. We then read every single day of Chanuka, we read Al Nisim. What does Al Nisim speak about? Al Nisim is all about a different miracle, a completely different miracle, which is the war. The war, the Hashmonaim fought against the Greek army, the mighty Greek army. You know, if it would say both of them, I understand. But in each place, it just speaks about each one. That's number 1. That's question number 1 I really want to discuss. What is the miracle? And number 2 is, guys, when the Beis HaMikdash was around, we had miracles going on all day, every day. At all times, there were miracles going on. Why all of a sudden now do we decide to take this miracle that happens, this specific miracle, whether it's fighting the Greeks or finding the oil, and this is the miracle we make an entire Yom Tov out of? Rabosai, we've seen miracles happen. We've seen miracles happen. But for some reason here, and it was every day in the Beis HaMikdash, but here we say, let's celebrate this. So very briefly, I want to give a brief answer before I really introduce Rabbi Glanz, the famous Rabbi Glanz. And I think the answer is understanding a little bit about what was the war. What was the actual war of the Greeks and the Hashmonaim and the Jews? What was this war really about? It was so much more than just a conflict between 2 armies. It wasn't, we want land, let's fight over it. You know, it's Russia, Ukraine. Okay, I want to take your land. No, I'm going to defend myself. The Jews and the Palestinians, it's not about land. It wasn't about fighting one another over, there was a specific conflict, a physical conflict. Rather, it was an ideological war. This war was so much more than just a physical conflict. Rather, as we all know, we've heard this many times, it was an ideological conflict. And what were those ideologies? What was the fight really about? So we know the depth of what really goes on is that we know that the Jewish people they came from, Noach's sons. Noach's son who? Shem. The Yavan comes from who? They come from Noach's other son, Yefes. Now, Cham, we're leaving out for a second. But Shem and Yefes were both blessed by Noach. Shem was the son that was blessed. He had the mitzvah of tzitzis. Yefes got the mitzvah of burial. This is after they both covered their father. After their father went through the story of Noach, it says that Shem walked in and covered his father. Yefes only followed. They each got their bracha. They each got their mitzvah. Yefes was given something, a bracha of growth, of continued Yiddishkeit, of continuing on growth in Yiddishkeit. Mitzvah, a specific mitzvah. Yefes was given over the idea of burial. What's burial? Burial is a physical thing. It's your body and going ahead and respecting the body in the proper way. The Jewish people came from Shem. Shem, as we saw in this week's parsha even, it's a Gevaldig word I saw in this week's parsha, this past week's parsha by Yishlach. Jews come from Shem. What is Shem? What is Shem? Shem means, what does it literally mean? It means the word name. What's the name? We know that by Yaakov, this past week's parsha, Yaakov, what are actually the weirdest, top 3 weirdest stories in all of the Torah, I think. I would say probably the top 3 weirdest stories. Yaakov gets into a fight. He's fighting all night with an angel. All night. Finally, Yaakov wins. Now he says, wait, don't leave. Don't leave before you tell me what is your name. That was it. I had to know your name. And then he tells him, why do you know my name? As if like, this is like, who do you think you're talking to? What's going on here? And Rashi explains that what he meant, what the angel meant was, you can't know my name because I'm not only one name, because the name is the real depth of what a person is. A name of something, of an item, of a person reveals the depth of what a person, of who he is or what he is, or an item, what the depth of the item really is. In the Torah, anytime you have a word, we understand the shoresh of a word, a thing. We understand where does that word come from? Why do we want to know that? Because we want to know the essence of what something is. Hashem, the name of something. So he was saying, in every generation, Yaakov was saying, I want to know how to beat Yetzer Hara. Yaakov says, I want to know how to beat the Yetzer Hara forever. How do I do it? What's the trick? Tell me your name, tell me your essence, so I can tell my children how to beat you. He says, you can't know my name. And Rashi explains why. Because I don't just have one tachlis. In every generation, I'm going to come at you in a different way. I'm going to fight you in a different way. But we see from there, I think that's a beautiful word, understanding it, but the shame of something, the name, is the depth, it's the panemius. Because shame represents panemius. Yefes, what is he? Yefes is not just the name. The word Yefes means yofi, beauty. He had a mitzvah. He was blessed with what? Not something that's eternal, something that's very physical, right now, right here and right now. The burial, showing respect to the body. Yefes represents beauty, external beauty. Shame is internal, panemius. Yefes is external beauty. Now, why did they get those? So, without getting into it, it's because shame was worried about their father, and he jumped at the opportunity. Yefes, on some level, Chazal tell us, they just followed. Everybody else is doing it, so I'm going to do it. I heard of Pshat. What does it mean to be tznius? We hear about the word tznius all the time. What does that mean to be tzanua, to be tznius? We all think it's, in Israel, we call it takanon. You have rules. You can wear this, you can wear that. You have to wear this. You have to dress that way. You have to look this way. You have to wear this color socks, this color shirt. It's not tznius. Tznius is panemius. That's what it means. Yes, it happens to reveal itself very often on the external. Don't do all these external things to bring yourself attention. You know why? Because be a panemiistic person. Be a person who knows who he really is. Be real with yourself internally. When you do a mitzvah, do it for you. Don't do it for other external reasons. That's what shame is. That's what the Jewish people are. The ideology of the Jewish people was being a panemi person, being real. The Greeks, they wanted to make us forget our Torah. They didn't care about Torah Shabbat. What they cared about Torah Shabbat Peh. They wanted to destroy Torah Shabbat Peh. You know why? Because Torah Shabbat Peh is all about, there's depth to it. It's not just a rule book. There's depth to it. It's something which is eternal. Something which will last forever. Something which is infinite. They can't accept such things. The Greeks have a hard time to accept such an idea that there's depth to something. No. Everything is physical. It's the body. We worship our bodies. Why? Because it's what you see is what you get. That's the beauty of the world. It's external beauty. And I think this is, in many ways, this is a fight that we're going to have forever. Are we going to be real internal panemi people? Which means when we serve Hashem, who are we doing it for? It says, Hatznei aleches im Hashem elokecha. Right? Hatznei aleches, what does that mean? Be tznius when you walk. What does that mean to be tznius? It's the next words of the pasuk. Im Hashem elokecha. When you do something with Hashem in mind, not everybody else in mind. When you do a mitzvah, why are you doing the mitzvah? Are you doing it because this is what everybody's doing? Are you doing it because, why are you dressing in a certain way? Are you dressing in a certain way because, listen, this is what a frum guy does, or this is how I want people to see me, or maybe it's good for shidduchim, or no, this is who I really am. And this is how I express myself in a real way. And those two things are diametrically opposed to one another. I was speaking to somebody recently, and I feel bad saying this, but this niece of mine was telling me one of her friends is dating. I shouldn't even say this. This is going to get publicized here, and she said one of my friends has to buy a Montclair coat because she's dating now. I'm like, what? Are you serious? What does that even mean? She was saying, what do you mean? You have to dress a certain way when you want to start dating. I said, This is mamish Yavan. Guys, Yavan, I think as Rav Zevlaf said, Pshat once, that you could see Yavan just in the letters of Yavan. Yavan is a what? What letters? What are the three letters? A Yud, which is one line, a Vav, which is a little bit longer line, and a Nun, which is even a longer line. What does that mean? It's superficiality, very straight, very nothing deep, very simple. Just Yud, line, bigger line. That's all it is. That's all they are. You wanna get better in Yavan? A little bit more. Have more of something. Buy more. Do more. Have a little bit more of this. Have a little bit more of that. That's how you succeed. But we're fighting a fight. Chanukah is about being real. You want to know why we celebrate Chanukah? This miracle? Because it's against Yavan. That's why. Because that is specifically our fight against Yavan. Why this miracle do we celebrate more than any other miracles? More than all the other ones that happened in Beis Mikdash? Because it happened against Yavan. It wasn't because this miracle was so special. It's because these miracles happened at the exact same time when Yavan was intruding in the holiness of Yiddishkeit.